You've been in Berlin for the last 6 years.
I have, yeah.
What made you leave here?
I got kicked out.
Right, okay. Yet again, yes.
Yeah, evicted. And,
evicted.
Yeah.
So. What attracted you to Berlin?
Well, you know, after the bustle and high-speed life in Galway, you just want to relax somewhere quiet and provincial.
Right, yes, yeah. But you're back here now with the Great Goat Bubble, your debut play.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a comedy about financial catastrophe.
Right.
Because we have the financial catastrophe, so we may as well have a comedy about it.
Yes.
It's not about the Irish property bubble at all. It's all about goats.
Goats, yes.
It's all about goats. But people have been drawing parallels, so yeah.
It was first published as an article in the Financial Times, yeah?
Originally there was a much shorter version, a short story. Yeah, it was I wrote this kind of allegory as a short story, and it was the first short story the Financial Times ever published.
Yeah.
So,
was your interest in sort of economics and finance inspired by your move to Berlin?
It's inspired by, it's before that. I've been interested in economics for a long time. A very theoretical interest, because I never actually had any money, but not having any money in a world where money is considered quite important, you get kind of theoretically very interested in what it does to people and how it changes their lives. You know, because a lot of my friends, you know, because I went for the art, I signed on the Dole, where we would have known each other back in the day, when we were just scraping to get by, and I was really into doing the art. I'm still scraping to get by. But if you focused on the art, you noticed that as time went by, a lot of people focused on the money, and that was very interesting, seeing how their lives kind of went sideways. Once you make a few decisions, and once you buy a house, and once you get the sensible job in the bank, you know. And a lot of my friends have kind of been betrayed because they did what they were told, you know. Yeah. They did the courses they were told to do in university that helped to get them the good job. They worked hard, they saved, They bought the house, they got the job with the secure pension, and now it's all been taken away from them. It wasn't really their fault. So in a way, with the play, with the Great Goat Bubble, I'm kind of trying to explain how that happens, how we get kind of driven completely away from what we love doing as kids into doing something that we don't want to do at all, and that doesn't even give us the reward we were promised at the end of it. It's, you know, the whole world of money is a scam, man. It's a scam.
We got gypped. Yeah, your wife, Anne-Marie Fives, is an artist as well.
She is, yeah.
There's two artists in the one. I mean, usually there's one sensible person and one artist. How does it work when there's two artists?
It's a financial disaster beyond imagining. I mean, if you look at the kind of financial map of Europe, there's this horrendous black hole in Berlin, and that's our house.
Right, okay. Well, let's go take sort of
artistically, it's satisfying.
Let's take a walk around Galway. I think we should go to the Dole office first, perhaps. And
we should, yeah.
Your old haunt, well, my old haunt too.
Oh, mine.
Yes,
definitely.
Shall we go?
Let's go.
Sign on?
Yeah, let's sign back on. Okay. Will they have me?
Well, here we are at our, your old haunt, the Dole office, mine briefly, but yours for a decade.
A decade, yeah. I spent more time here than anywhere else in Galway. It wasn't disgraceful.
A fine, strapping, intelligent young man like yourself on the Dole.
Well, I considered it I knew that Beckett, you know, when he became a writer, had a private income from his family, from his, you know, when his dad died, and Joyce had a private income from Sylvia Beach, who funded him all the way through.
And his brother.
And his brother. So I never had a private income, so I figured this is my private income.
Okay.
You know, I'd learned how to write, and I was, you know, my patrons were these guys.
But I mean, I remember during that period, Toasted Heretic were on magazine covers, and you're getting lots and lots of press.
Oh yeah.
Did that not give you a hard time?
No, but I was very honest.
You're on telly. You must be a millionaire.
I know. But I showed them like what we earned, and it was absolutely nothing. You know, you get money for a gig, and it would just about pay to get you there and back. You know, and I, you know, I'd ask, but we would go in and we'd ask for our Dole holidays. Technically, you needed to give them 2 weeks' notice, but we were organising things at the last minute. So you go in and say, "I need my Dole holidays. When do you need them? Tomorrow." All right. Why? Because I'm going to New York. You know. And they'd be, "Oh, come on now." And we'd explain, we're going to the new music
seminar. New York was a grand a flight or something.
It was incredibly difficult to get there, but we managed to wangle it, and we get the government paid for the flights because we were ambassadors of Irish culture, which we were.
Indeed, yes.
Singing about Galway, in
charming
New York.
And arrogant, yes.
Charming and arrogant. So, and we'd go to New York and we'd send postcard back home to the Dole office to say thanks for sorting out the Dole holidays. It was a very amiable relationship. Yeah. I don't know where they put the postcards. Someone somewhere has them in a file.
Anyway, a lot more people are going back here now, sadly. scene?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, it's actually culturally usually better for a country to have a bit of unemployment and a bit of empty space. It's horrible for people that lose their jobs, but it can be culturally quite enriching because people suddenly have time to think about what they really want to do with their lives, and a lot of people decide what they really want to do with their lives is something more interesting than the job they've left.
Yeah.
And it can be quite. I mean, we were lucky in a way because we never even had jobs. I mean, it was 20% unemployment when I left the.
Well, actually, I would say that Galway is the best city in Ireland to be unemployed in.
Yeah. You can have quite
by a long shot.
A fascinating life here, and find out who you are and what you want to do. And in a way, our generation was quite lucky that we didn't have the option of work. When Brian Lennon saying, "Get out of the country. There's no room for you here. Go away."
It's a small island.
Yeah, but if you didn't go away, you could just kind of explore. If you could keep your overhead low enough, you could explore culture. You could read. You could go to the library. You could find out what you wanted to do with your life, and that was actually quite a luxury. I think of these years as quite luxurious years where I had a lot of time and a lot of space to think and read and write and learn and write songs and novels. And so I actually, conversations with people about the Dole in Galway in those years often end up a bit kind of screwy because they think you were suffering and it was terrible and it was hardship and you were unemployed, and I think I was free.
So really what you're saying is, sure, we were poor, but we were happy.
We were poor, but we were happy, yeah.
Well, Julian, here we are on the stage of Druid, for your first ever stage play.
Yeah, on our bench.
Yes. What are your memories of Druid?
Well, the Druid was pretty much the first place I ever saw grown-up theatre, proper theatre, and when I was a teenager, I was living basically across the street, and friends would have spare ticket, and they'd give you, and you'd end up coming into this space, and
you couldn't swap butter vouchers for Druid.
You could, yeah. They weren't exchangeable. It was it was an imperfect market.
Are you a theatre fan generally? I mean, I know you've written a play, but
I have mixed feelings.
I see you more as a novelist. And
I love some aspects of theatre, and I don't like others, and that's fair enough. I think often you go into an area because you don't love everything about it, but you love some things, and you think, it doesn't have to be like that. It could be like this, and. So, like with the Great Goat Bubble, I wanted to do something that was quite abstract things, about economics and finance and the things that actually can mess up our lives completely, but that we have great difficulty in seeing and understanding and explaining and telling a story about that makes sense. Because my parents' generation, I know people that are retired now and they've lost their houses because of some bad decision that they didn't know was a bad decision at the time, and suddenly they're retired. Yeah, or buy a new house, sell your old house, and then you can't sell your old house, and suddenly you've got two mortgages. You've just paid off the mortgage on one. Now you've got this $500,000 mortgage, and you can't sell the old house, and you have debts of $500,000, and you've retired. What do you do?
Yeah.
You're in a disastrous position. And part of the fun of the play was trying to find a way to explain to ourselves what happened.
Yeah.
But theatre's getting more interesting now, I think.
Sure.
It's more fun to be involved because you can't digitize it. And I think theatre's become sexier and more modern. Now that there's a digital revolution and you can rewind and repeat and copy everything endlessly, but you can't copy this.
You can't pirate theatre. Yeah.
You can't pirate theatre. And if you're not here tonight and paying attention, you've missed it. It will never happen again. You'll never be able to get that moment back. And that becomes very kind of valuable.
I mean, we've spoken already about the idea that, okay, you're reacting to the economic circumstances through art. Are you surprised, because I am, that people haven't reacted through violence?
Yeah,
Pikes out of the thatch. And
I do talk about this a lot with friends.
Shawnee Fitzpatrick's head on it.
Yeah, but I think there's this funny thing in Ireland. I think a lot of us feel implicated, a little bit like guilty that we kind of should have stood back a bit more and we didn't, and that I think there's a little bit of shame there as well that we in some ways thought we could get the easy money and grabbed for it, and now that we've burnt our fingers, we're kind of not really, we're blaming ourselves a little bit as well. Can I do some snow?
Yeah, do some snow instead. It's snowing. A bit more, actually. Can you hear? That's not much. It's confetti, come on.
They've got to pick it up again tonight. For tonight. I don't want to give them more work to do.
That's very nice of you. Yeah. Okay.
I'm very thoughtful.
Let's get out of here. I left my sweater.
Where's my jumper?
It's my Christmas sweater. Well, here we are at the Warwick, the infamous Galway nightclub and hotel. I used to work here. I used to play gigs here.
Yeah. It's where everybody's parents met.
Yeah. But will no longer, sadly, because yet another victim of the economic downturn.
You can see you were just showing me there, you can see the gold discs on the wall still inside. Yeah.
Sob.
Happy times.
It's funny though, because Salt Hill is just, Salt Hill used to be the hub of Galway nightlife, and it's gone now.
Yeah, we played, Toasted Heretic played their very first gig on a lorry in just down Salt Hill as part of the Salt Hill Festival, and we played the Warwick a few times. And there's the Oasis gone. Yeah.
How long were Heretic on the go?
God, it's hard to remember. Quite a few years. We did 4 albums, and we were playing for a couple of years before we got our first album together. So
yeah. And it became disillusioned.
It's hard to remember. If you can remember it.
You weren't there. Yeah. Do you have any particular memories of the Warwick?
Loads. I remember doing mushrooms one night, and
I didn't give
back when mushrooms were legal. No, I don't think you were involved that night. Doing mushrooms and going to the Warwick and having this experience where a tribe of pygmies were wandering around the Warwick, freaking me out considerably, and I was sinking into the floor, and it started to rain indoors, and I was very, 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 very freaked out.
That was the night that we had the pygmy convention. That was.
I found out the next day. I found out the next day that a group of extremely short people were on a bus trip and were staying in the Warwick. So they really were only that high.
Yeah.
And it was actually raining because there were so many people there. The condensation was falling from the ceiling, so I wasn't hallucinating as much as I thought.
The mushrooms weren't as good as you thought.
They weren't quite as strong as I had led to believe. Yeah. But those are the days when they used to make, some of the guys used to make mushroom wine.
Yeah, mushroom tea.
Joe Seal used to make mushroom wine, and
that's in your book actually. There's a scene of that in Juno and Juliet, isn't there?
Mushrooms were a big influence on Galway's creative life.
Yes, well, around September, October they were. Yes.
Yeah. Creativity was seasonal.
Yes. Well, I think we should trip on.
Let's trip on.
Okay, let's move. Well, here we are in NUIG.
Yep.
Your old alma mater.
UCG as was.
As was, yes, yeah. What are your memories of this place?
God, loads. I stuffed half of them into a book. My first novel was set.
This is Juno and Juliet.
Juno and Juliet was set in pretty much in UCG, and loads of it was set that building behind us. I had imaginary offices in towers that don't really have offices, and people throwing themselves out the window and all kinds of drama. So yeah, it was a very exciting place to be.
Did you write that book while you were here? Because I know it sat in a drawer for years, didn't it?
I wrote it. I started it after I left. It takes time to compost.
Yeah.
But it was very exciting. I mean, I set up my Toasted Heretic while I was in university. I put most of my energy into the band rather than into the university. And
what did you study?
Made friends, learned how to scuba dive and kayak. And
Well, no, what did you actually study?
Technically, I studied English literature and philosophy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. No, philosophy and literature, I deliberately chose them to make me unemployable, and it worked. I've never had a proper job, so NUI Galway did exactly what I wanted it to do. It gave me a grounding in how you think. It gave me 3 years, 4 in the end, to read whatever I wanted in English literature, and it made sure I was totally unemployable.
Yeah.
Result.
Cool. Let's get out of here.
Have a walk. I used to play football over there.
Yeah?
Yeah, and hurling and rounders. Very flexible.
Make a better car park.
They wanted to make it a car park, yeah. Ridiculous.